Terrence Howard is sharing powerful knowledge that the world's elite would prefer to keep hidden.
I've invented a new form of flight, the ability to fly around your own center of mass.
You are 1,000 years ahead of your time. Man is not ready for this yet.
Someone programmed that lie in there and lied to you and everyone. I know they're watching me right now.
Who's they?
He was working with the Air Force and Raytheon to develop a free energy device.
Yo, what's good? We're back with another one.
It's showtime.
Terrence Howard, the actor from Hustle and Flow, revealed some metaphysical secrets years ago and nobody paid attention.
Yep.
I want you guys to know about a 6,000-year-old secret called the Flower of Life. This symbol was found in the Temple of Osiris, and it had been molecularly burned into the wall, saying whoever controlled that flower of life controlled the universe. Our DNA is made up of what? 5 elements, right? They used to think that the body transferred or understood the energy information through electricity. They're finding out it's through frequency. So yeah, I'm in the process of building a harmonic wave sequencer with another doctor who has been able to successfully cure AIDS and cancer. You do not need to tear the human body apart when all you can do is use frequency to bring it back through its normal space. In less than 500 million years, life will not be able to be sustained on this planet. We have to become interstellar.
Damn, Ted, this is going to be a good one.
Yeah, bro. He speaks to aliens.
What?
I think this man was abducted by aliens, and let me tell y'all why.
Yep.
So we all know and love Terrence Howard, but in the middle of filming Empire, he randomly decided to quit acting. He's been in everything from the Players Club to Hustle and Flow to The Best Man. Why would you wake up one day and decide to just quit acting?
Aliens.
Let's hear from Terrence.
Born Terrence Deshaun Howard. I've become an actor. You know, I've been nominated for Oscars and Golden Globes and SAG Awards, but those weren't the things that really moved me. As a child, I studied chemical engineering at Pratt Institute, was there for 2 years until I saw that there was an inconsistency with the math there. And so I went out to explore a new way of understanding how the universe worked, and I was able to define the grand unified field equation they've been looking for and put it into geometry. And then with that geometry, I was able to put props on that. And what I'm saying is now we have invented a new form of flight that I would like to bring here to Uganda.
Terrence, when the hell you know anything about math? Something not adding up.
What I want is for the truth to be told. The truth about geometry, the truth about life, is making sure that 4 generations from now, our children, and not just our children, we've been taught this fallacy that we're the only things made in God's image. Right? Everything in creation is made in God's image, yes, and deserves the same rights.
What creatures could he possibly be talking about that deserve the same rights that we do? Now, if you know anything about Bob Lazar in Area 51, when he was working on the UFOs, he said that they manipulated gravity around them to move instead of using propellers.
Yep.
Watch this.
On Tuesday, when I receive my star, I'm going to be able to prove that gravity is only an effect and not a force. I'm putting something on YouTube where I will build the planet Saturn without gravity and build the Milky Way galaxy without gravity.
I don't know, y'all. Am I crazy or is it all making sense? Tell me what y'all think in the comments.
You think he got all this from aliens?
Yeah, bro. They're trying to silence him.
Terrence Howard is sharing powerful knowledge that the world's elite would prefer to keep hidden, revealing secrets about the fundamental nature of the universe and life that challenge conventional understanding and control.
There's a particular song, a scale, in the genome for each and every one of us. Now, when that song is played, when your particular prime resonant frequency is played, guess what happens? Your DNA celebrates and tightens. Everything else gets pushed out. This is the truth that every human being needs to know in order to be able to take care of their family and teach them properly.
The knowledge he's sharing puts him at risk because some people do not want it to be released. Despite these risks, he has decided to make it public. This helps us move towards being a level 1 civilization. This means using the Earth's resources in a way that is good for both the planet and the people living on it. He also talks about reaching high levels of civilization, levels 2, 3, and 4. At these levels, people could travel and see different parts of the universe. To reach these levels, we need the tools Terrence provides and ways of thinking that help us predict and manage the natural world around us. This knowledge acts like a map, helping us understand the secret of the universe and improve how we live and interact with everything around us.
You're able to produce your own energy. You're able to sustain and coexist with our environment. You're able to, like I said, become a level 1 civilization and utilize all of the resources of the earth and benefit the earth and the creatures of the earth at the same time. So cosmically, karmically, that's a wonderful place. But you get to level 2, level 3, level 4, and being able to now visit and travel and experience other parts of the universe as a result of utilizing these truths and these tools to guide you in understanding universal fundamentals.
With the state of the world right now, mate, I don't think they're ready for this.
They'll never be ready, bro.
What do you guys think?
Did the whole calculator show up?
Hit number what?
Hit the number 2.
Number 2.
Go to the square root.
1.4?
1.414213563733095.
Holy
now,
crap.
I want you two to do 2 separate things now. 2 separate things. I want you to multiply it by 2, hit times 2, equal, don't you do it.
Okay.
And I want you to hit x to the 3rd.
Times 3?
No, x.
Oh, X. Oh, okay, I see it. All right,
2.828 4271 2174 6190. The same value you got.
Yeah.
By multiplying it by 2.
Yeah.
And he just cubed it. Divide it by 2 again. Both of y'all. Divide
it by 2.
No, divide by 2. It equals. Now, cube it again. Hit x to the 3rd.
Yeah.
You see that loop?
Yeah.
That's saying x cubed is equal to 2x, which is equal to x plus x. That's an unnatural equation. That's a mathematical fallacy. And that's the beginning of your math. That's how I invented tangential flight, because your math, someone programmed that lie in there and lied to you and everyone, and all your fundamentals are off.
There are leaps like this in maths.
Not like this, bro.
Terrence Howard's revealing a 6,000-year-old secret.
This is a working model of Terrence Howard's patent. From what I can tell, this is what makes time travel possible.
So this is the flower of life.
You guys to know about a 6,000-year-old secret. 6,000 years, mankind has been trying to decipher this one little thing called the flower of life.
So this is the flower of death, which is the opposite of the flower of life. And this is Terrence's website right here, where he goes into details of the difference of both of those. And this information is pretty wild. You can check it out. And this virtual patent right here can supposedly help with time travel.
It's 6,000 years old. This same symbol has been found in the forbidden temples in China, sitting under the Fufu dogs. And the foot on it, the flower of life, saying whoever controlled that flower of life controlled the universe. There were secrets in that flower of life.
So what Howard's talking about, he didn't create this stuff. He's into sacred geometry, which is a new age spiritual practice.
Come on, mate, time travel.
Bro, you ain't ready.
Let's talk about Terrence Howard. This is him when he first started exposing his research. Anytime you start talking about things that's outside of the norm, this is usually what happens. That's until he went on the Joe Rogan podcast. Now they're saying Terrence Howard just mic dropped all the science on Joe Rogan. You're a more conventional scientist. You got a lot of explaining to do. This guy said, there's literally nothing more important on earth than listening to Terrence Howard right now. This is just an example, but I need y'all to listen to this.
There's been a lot of debate at the moment in the world of physics and metaphysics. There's been this incredible interview with Terrence Howard on the Joe Rogan show, and everyone's talking about is the fundamental unit of creation. Is it a particle or a wavicle? Whereas Terrence is suggesting that the flower of life is the key to all the secrets of creation. So Terrence Howard has looked at the negative space between 4 bubbles or 4 spheres, and we get this kind of shape like a tetrahedron. And he's saying that that shape there is the atomic structure of hydrogen. And as you know, hydrogen constitutes 99.9% of the universe. So this contradicts the whole theory of protons and electrons and black holes, because he's saying everything has a male part and a female part. So his work was based on the Walter Russell's cosmology of octaves and frequencies and light. So a lot of people are asking me, like, is he the next Tesla? Well, I believe that his popularity and his deep understanding of the sacred geometry and the pentagons that nest definitely constitutes him as one of the next progressive thinkers in the world.
The next Tesla. It's a big statement.
Tesla knew the ancient secrets too, bro.
I want to show you Lynchpin now. Here I'm an Oscar-nominated actor that is known all around the world, face recognition, vocal recognition, all around the world. I've invented a new form of flight, tangential flight, the ability to fly around your own center of mass, something they've never been able to do. And you don't hear anything about it. It means right now, fixed-wing aircraft, you can go in 4 degrees of direction. They go up, down, some can go forwards and backwards and right to left. But this is able to spin around its own center of mass. Completely spin around its own center of mass, something people are able to do it by falling, but this is a sustained system. Because this is the geometry of hydrogen, any bond that hydrogen can make, Lynchpin can make, and what they're basically doing is building a periodic table in front of you, and they're all following this queen as a colony, and they'll do everything that she's doing. This is 4 of them that's going to come together to pick up a barrel.
And what's powering them?
Right now, we're going to use hydrogen fuel cells. But I have another system, that I was going to talk about in a second. But it's an unlimited source of power. But,
so hydrogen fuel cells,
or you can use lithium batteries.
And how are they moving? Are those like propellers?
Yeah, those are props. But that right there, what we have right there is a collective pitch. So instead of the props having to turn themselves around, instead of all the props having to turn themselves around to stop and turn in the opposite direction, they just switch the direction. So it's a collective pitch, and it changes. And so now, instead of going up, you're going down, but now 5 of them will come together. And watch what the 5 does so this is the end of cranes. This is and how many is necessary. And since this is the fractal, they can be as small as a nanoparticle, or they can be as large as the universe, because the entire universe comes down to this.
These things are going to change deliveries forever.
Cares about deliveries, bro. It's gonna make a free energy device.
You've all been blowing me up, asking me about Terrence Howard. I can't comment without also commenting about Walter Russel, the man who Terrence took his information from. Walter Russel was an early contactee, artist, and mystic who channeled his information. Nobody realizes he was working with the Air Force, NORAD, and Raytheon to develop a free energy device. Here's a clip about it. If you'd like to see the whole thing, check out our YouTube.
Lo and behold, sitting in that basement was the free energy device that Russell was working on with Raytheon and NORAD in 1961. Those are the 2 coils there. They weigh about 300 pounds apiece. Well, if you can imagine a river, the tributaries combine to make a greater flow in the end than they do when they start, and called it as power multiplication principle. These blueprints show the exact construction and why it's called the optical dynamo generator. You can copy these down. So there's all the information. You've got the information you need to make a free energy device. Let's go do it.
I've never heard of Walter Russell,
I don't want you to know about him, bro.
Tesla, in review of Dr. Russell's Universal One, said, "You are 1,000 years ahead of your time. Man is not ready for this yet. You need to give it to the Smithsonian, have them put it in a time capsule, and have it opened in 1,000 years. Then man will be able to understand what you've given the world."
Damn.
That's pretty heavy. This is a letter from Dr. Russell to Einstein saying, and I'm just going to surmise this, is that, look, if you're going to steal my science, at least get it right. Now, Einstein was one of the scientists of the world of academia that rejected Dr. Russell's cosmogony. And here's what's interesting. When they were settling his estate, they open up his desk drawer. There's his copy of the Universal One. Publicly deny it, privately eating it up.
We gotta get a copy of that book, Ted.
Check this out, bro.
The picture I hold in my hands is the work of Dr. Walter Russell. I was personally drawn to this particular image when I visited his museum in Waynesboro, Virginia. I felt as if his work embodied the true bridge between science and religion. Now I'm going to read every image that's in this picture, and I want you all to collectively interpret the story that it's telling. The undivided white light of the universal God mind. God's universe of space is an intensely luminous, blinding white light which no eyes can see. Illuminates alone can see that light through their centers of consciousness located in their pineal glands. The white-minded light divided into spectrum pairs. God's white-minded light is dark to man until he divides into spectrum pairs of red and blue lights to screen the white light of God's mind which centers every creating thing. Man's senses are two-way waves of limited frequencies. They do not respond to vibrations below or above a very limited range. Man can extend his range of sense vision by telescope or microscope, but his senses cannot go beyond the spectrum effect into mind cause. Man's limited sense vision has caused them to see an objective universe of many separate, disunited things. When mind vision unfolds to a higher stage in the human race by increasing awareness of the divine light which centers man, he will then see that everything in the universe is insolubly bound to every other thing. Science will then know that matter is but many focal points of one body. When a man multiplies gravity by casting a stone in the water, his senses only see wave ripples. They do not tell him that those ripples are equatorial ring series of expanding spheres which are dissipating gravity in the same ratio as it is being multiplied by the falling stone. The same principle applies to all actions. This is, in fact, the very basis of the universal life principle. He ends it by saying, science has built a strange universe from sense evidence and has been mightily deceived.
Get that book, Ted.
I've ordered it, bro.
Einstein left that out of his equation because he coupled electricity and magnetism together and didn't realize that electricity was the equal and opposite of magnetism. Electricity being the contractive field. You breathe in, that's a contractive thing. You breathe out, that's a magnetic thing, a radiative thing. But they use the term magnet as an attractor. But to magnify something means to what? Make it larger, increase the space. That's the work of radiation. That's what Walter Russell was talking about all those years. That's the work of radiation. It's the electricity between the things that pull them together. The Coulomb force that supposedly opposites attract and push each other away. If that was true, then hot air and cold air would seek each other out. They're the same substance, but just but in a different state. They move in opposite directions from each other. Hot water and cold water move in opposite directions from each other. The reason two magnets seem like the North Pole is attracted to the South Pole, because if you had two rivers or two hoses with water coming out of them and you pointed them at each other, what are they going to do? They're going to be pushing against each other. But they align to where the male enters the female and is able to come out. So they've been fooled by their senses. They've been fooled by their eyes and have missed the whole picture of it.
Damn, maybe he does speak to aliens.
Finally, we agree on something.
Are you familiar with Khalil Gibran?
Yes.
He wrote a book, he wrote The Prophet, in 1923, but he wrote another book called Sand and Foam. In that book, he told a story of a man who had been away from his family for 4 months working, and he was excited to come home, and as he was coming home, he knew that the mountain, when he saw the mountain, he was close to home. So his five senses started having a conversation, and his eyes says, I see a mountain, I see a mountain, I see a mountain. And so the ears perked out and said, I don't hear a mountain. The nose sniffed and said, I don't smell a mountain. The tongue tasted the air, I don't taste a mountain. And other four senses started speaking among themselves, and they came to the conclusion that there must be something the matter with the eye, because they couldn't perceive it. But all of these things, we've been misled just because we've been fooled by our senses. Our eyes see 0.05% of the entire electromagnetic wave. We're blind cosmically, but we judge everything by what we see. And they've done that with science for so many years. You look at E = mc squared. That talks about expansion. It does not show how it's divided. You've never breathed in twice without breathing out. You breathe in and you breathe out. You charge and you discharge. So how is it that the breathing in, they're acting as if the universe is just expanding out, breathing out, and it's going to dissipate out, and they never include the contractive side of it, breathing in.
Some animals can see ultraviolet light. Makes you wonder what you're missing.
Demons, bro.
God took dirt and blew into it the breath of life, and it came to life. But if you look at the Brownian effect, what is breathing? Going from positive to negative. And they see all these, even the plastic that makes these things up are still going from, it's still carbon, polarizing from positive to negative. Breathing in, breathing out. It's just under a different state of matter, but there is no death. There's no death. We are all, everything's eternal. And once we get rid of the idea, okay, you're going to die and disappear, then they don't have any grasp over you anymore. And to be free, the truth will set you free. That's why I was like, okay, well, if this truth cost me this lifetime, then wonderful, I've accomplished what I needed to do. Because I think in the previous lifetime, I was supposed to do these things and I didn't. And that's why it's been so hard for me. And that's why I've pushed so hard to get these things out, because
So you felt like that, like from the womb?
From the womb, I had to get this done.
So you felt like you had these things that you didn't get out in a previous lifetime, and now you feel like an unstoppable urge.
I have to at all costs.
The more I think about reincarnation, the more I think we're in a simulation.
Either we're in a simulation, or aliens made humans.
You think that the origin of hominids, that this is a naturally occurring thing that happens when a planet reaches a certain distance from its star in a Goldilocks zone with the proper materials?
Of course. The pressure conditions created. Look at what happens in the summer and, in the northern portion. You'll see apples occurring at this time. They'll say that the tree is appling. Well, what happens with the planets, it's peopling.
Whoa.
This is just peopling. This is just what occurs at 93 million miles away from the sun.
What do you think occurs after us?
Well, once we get pushed out further, what happens? We need nitrogen to unwind into oxygen. But since when we get pushed further out, the nitrogen is so far out, so we have to go deeper underground to have the pressure conditions that was equal to us having 93 million miles away from the sun. The deeper underground we go, the less light we have. And as a result of that, skin begins to gray, eyes get bigger, things that we see in aliens and all of that ends up taking place.
They're from the inner earth, bro.
Yeah, I don't know about that, Ted.
Who's more evolved? We're considering ourselves to be more evolved. But you look at the simians, they have 48 chromosomes. We only have 46. Where did that change occur? Where did we get this new understanding? And how did we lose two chromosomes?
Chromosome number 2 in the human body was pulled out, fused together, and then 2 telomere caps were put on each end. This happened around 200,000 years ago.
Yep.
Now, something else happened around that same time. We have this gene in us, this worship gene, which was inserted into the human genome. We know this now because scientists have actually found the worship gene.
What?
You can turn it on and they can turn it actually off.
What?
Yes, we have a worship gene. worshipped. That's right. And so it makes us want to worship something outside of ourselves, when in true reality, we should find the power inside. And this was inserted by the Anunnaki.
Yeah, bro.
That's my hypothesis.
Whether you want to call it the Annunaki or some other influence that acted upon us, but there's been a change within our DNA and our structure.
I wonder if some people are born without that gene.
That's why they have sacred bloodlines, bro.
You give all this credit about the pyramids. If those were built by an advanced civilization, and I'm not saying they weren't built by someone that used other things, but I believe those things came initially from 100, 200,000 years ago, and the shape was more like this. But after people had been removed, or the influences of the individuals that made them like this, they now was like, okay, we're just going to make them with straight lines. And they limited themselves to that because they opened up the flower of life incorrectly. They invented straight lines where even God can't make a straight line because of their rules of equanimity.
What do you mean by 200,000 years ago?
There's over 130 something thousand years worth of water damage under the Sphinx itself.
I get the feeling this guy's going to go missing sometime soon.
They're watching him, bro.
It's probably a good time to remind you, this is for entertainment purposes only.
Man, don't turn my phone off. Don't do that. Every time I get ready, well, because I know they're watching me right now, and they're mad at me.
Who's they?
The politicians and the authorities that give the politicians their accreditation.
Yep.
You think they fuck with your phone?
Oh, I'm sure, because now I have to turn it off.
Do you ever drop your phone? You ever drop your phone?
I've dropped my phone a number of times, but...
You ever think that might be what's going on with your phone?
And then I buy another phone, and the same thing happens. I'm 5 minutes...
burners?
I used to, but then my wife would think I was cheating.
They got into Joe's computer, bro.
Oh, no.
Every time I'm shrinking in this video, it's just like, it doesn't like to do this.
What?
Huh.
Told you, bro.
Is it the codec?
I have no control over the computer. Alt tab does nothing. Escape does nothing.
Yo.
Spacebar does nothing.
Run, bro.
Maybe you dropped your computer.
Maybe you dropped your computer, Jamie. Jamie, you need a burner computer.
Has this ever happened to you before?
No.
Fascinating.
Yeah, if you want to be paranoid.
I'm not paranoid.
I am.
I'm a bit of a skeptic. I'm a realist. If A is equal to B and B is equal to C, then A is equal to C. If this has never happened before and it's always happening to me, maybe I'm just bad luck.
Damn. Hope I don't get him.
They're coming for him, bro.
What happened to all the Anunnaki and Thoth and all them?
They had 2 wars. The first Pyramid War almost eradicated them, but they started over again. The second Pyramid War, bad. That one almost decimated the planet. You see how when you look at Earth, like from Google Earth, you see a lot of those big deserts going across. People say, oh, that's just natural geological formations over time. This has become an arid desert. No, that's war. If you go to Egypt and stick your hand deep in the sands, eventually you're going to come up with balls of glass. How can you get glass and sand? 3,000 plus degree temperatures. You go to Mohenjo-Daro in the Indus Valley, what are you going to see there? Dead bodies still in the streets from thousands of years ago, still holding hands, never been scavenged. The buildings that they lived in turned to glass. How can that be? We're talking about 3,000 plus degree temperature weapons fire. We're talking about this war that happened in the ancient past. Amun-Ra wanted to continue he started the first war to take over the earth early because he didn't want to wait for his processional period to rule. And then this is the guy who says, you must say amen after everything. Say amen. Everything you give thanks for, you're saying amen to him. So when you say amen, you're thanking him.
Yeah.
A brutal killing guy. But anyway, so he says, it's a fact. He started one war to take over early, which he won.
Yeah.
He started a second war to stay in power.
Yeah.
In that second war, he escaped. He was almost killed, but he left his kingship and the finances of the kingdom to the Ra Khan. And R-A-K-A-M, but that translates into modern words. Calm translates into childs. So now you translate Rothschilds.
Oh shit, Ted, this is getting crazy.
They rule the world, bro.
Who owns the rights to the interior of the Great Pyramid? NASA.
Yes.
What? I was told by one of the guides a couple years ago that they've discovered something technological about it and they want to control it.
That's spooky, man.
They also own the rights to a section of the Grand Canyon. So I took a helicopter down into the Grand Canyon. They said we can't walk to this area. That area I heard had some old carvings or something would be over in this area. So I started trying to walk that way. And this guy pops out of nowhere with all black on, black hat, black military outfit with no logos and an AR-15 and tells me, halt, you can't go any further. I'm like, well, why? I said, what's going on? Oh, didn't they tell you couldn't come over here? I said, well, they did, but I'm thinking, I just want to see, what's over here.
Right.
And he says, you can't come. I said, well, why? What? I said, can you just tell me, sir, like, why can't I come over here? He says, NASA owns the rights to this section. You can't come over here.
At the Grand Canyon.
The Grand Canyon.
Do you have any theories of why that is?
It's got to be technological. Starts at something with space. And then also, where else? Chaco Canyon. Same situation. So wait a minute. What's going on here? How in the world what are they doing?
What's going on in the Grand Canyon, Ted?
A lot, bro. But we'll have to save that for next time.
Thanks for watching. Remember to like, comment and subscribe. And we'll see you in the next one.